Hi everyone, we've had a bike come in today which requires me to look at it and to see if it's roadworthy. It's been left in this shed for about 3 years, the customer says, without being used, and you can tell by the cobwebs that the spiders have made a nice home, actually probably a whole resort on the bike, so it definitely needs a bit of work. What we're going to do is perform an M check. Now it's called an M check because you're basically covering the main components, the most important parts of a bike, while kind of pretty much following the shape of the letter M. So we're going to start down here, that's the bottom left part of the M, work our way up to the seat post entry point. Then we're going to come down, we're going to look at the front gearing system, the main part of the drivetrain, the crank arms, etc. And then we're going to move up to this point here where we're going to check out the steering, the braking system, to make sure the gear levers are working, etc. And then we make our way down to the final point at the bottom here where the main axle is for the front wheel, and again the braking system. So that's how the M check works. We're not going to do any repairing today, but what we're going to do is I'm going to highlight the issues for this bike, and hopefully it will help you identify issues you might have for your bike, particularly if your bike has been sat for a few years and you want it to get back out on it for the summer. So let's get to work. So the first thing we're going to do is look at the gear change of the bike. First of all, let's make sure this derailleur is actually moving backwards and forwards. Often if you leave a bike alone in a shed and the spring is engaged, which means it isn't in the smallest sprocket, it's somewhere else like this one, the spring can actually get tired and worn and not be as springy. So first of all, let's see if the derailleur is springing itself down and carrying the chain down. Yes, it is. At the final couple of gears is where it's going to be the most obvious. So let's have a look if it has tired itself. No, we seem to be okay. Now what we need to do is to see if the the cable is stretched. What might have happened is the cable's stretched. You'll know this because it won't lift, the derailleur won't lift the chain up as easily onto the other gears. So clicking at the gear lever end, it's gone up there. There we go, I've clicked, nothing's happened. You might be able to hear the click, you can see the derailleur moving certainly, but the chain itself isn't moving. So what that is a classic sign that the cable has stretched. No biggie. What we're going to do is we're going to go anti-clockwise with the barrel adjuster here, which pretty much every bike will have. If it doesn't have a barrel adjuster here, you'll be very unlucky, but you're almost certainly going to have one at the gear shifter end. So just use that one instead. But we're going to go anti-clockwise around about half a complete turn. And that is going to, although we traditionally see that as loosening, it's actually increasing the gap between the cable entry point and where it's tied onto the derailleur. So that's going to increase tension. So let's have a little look now. Give that a change. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's working fine now. So we're getting there. And then 2 and 1, final gear. Brilliant. Now let's see if it changes down as well. Yeah, look at that, that's great. You're going to hear some scraping. That's from the front derailleur because it's in its lowest gear setting. So we're cross-chaining at the moment. That's a perfectly normal sound. There we go, we're in business. Okay, great. So, oh look, and the brakes work. So we now know that gearing is working fine. What we can do, if you have one, is get a chain stretch tool. The customer says he's hardly ridden this bike from new. So if that's the case, this bike won't fit in between the links. And oops. And he's right, look, it won't go in at all. So this is not a worn chain, not by any stretch, no pun intended, which means it wouldn't have worn out these teeth either. If this was massively worn, there's a chance it could have taken out the cassette freewheel teeth as well, where these won't be as squared off. They'll start to look spiky. It's not a terminal issue, but it just means it's more money because you've got to replace the chain and the new cassette, because a new chain probably won't be accepted by the old one. You'll know because if you pedal, straight away your pedals will be banging and jumping forward because this new chain won't engage with the old teeth, the old sprockets. Anyway, moving on. We're still on the back wheel. What we're going to do is look at the tyre quality, and I can tell you at a glance that this is knackered because the tyres have been flat, possibly punctured, but we'll find out later on. What's happened is these have actually gone and got themselves really cracked. And let's see if I can get this in focus for you. There we go. If I push down on the tyre here, you get cracks appearing. Can you see those cracks just down here? So that's not good at all. Yeah, that's knackered. That's really done in. So what we need to do is big cracks there. Look. What we need to do is get a new tyre, if the back's gone, almost certainly the front's going to be gone as well. So unfortunately for the customer, it's going to be a few quid for him. While we're here, we're going to look at the brakes as well. Now you need to do a bit of multitasking here for the brakes, because you need to squeeze in the brake lever at the front. These are hydraulic brakes, which means there shouldn't be a lot of travel for the brake lever. But as you can see here in the image, it's traveling an awful lot. So that means that the brakes need bleeding, and almost certainly that'll be the case for the front as well. But yeah, the back has probably got air in, maybe the oil, the mineral oil is getting knackered. Either way, we need to bleed the system. There's little point then spending much time on the brakes until that has been done. But one thing you can do, if your brakes seem to be okay in terms of pressure, let's just come off here, you can have a look at the quality of the brake pads, and by doing that you can establish whether or not they're really worn. Now you can see, hopefully you can see on this side, the right side of the disc, you can see the metal backing plate to the disc, to the pad, and then there's loads and loads of tread. So actually I think that will be completely fine. The only issue you might have is that brake pads can get glazed over if they're not used. Hopefully a short ride will fix that. If it doesn't, then the customer's going to be looking at new pads as well. I don't think he will need to, but definitely, as I said earlier on, it's going to need a bleed, and then we'll find out for sure. Now we move up to the other part of the M. This is the top left corner, if you like, of the letter M. This is kind of an easy part, really. You need to make sure that the saddle is safe, it's working well, it's not wobbling, there are no obvious rips and tears. There's nothing obvious that will cause this to come off mid-ride. More significantly, you need to make sure that the seat post is securely held by the clamp to the frame, because you don't want the saddle to move left and right while you're riding along, or indeed up and down. One thing you might want to do though, even if it is held in nicely, is to loosen this seat post clamp bolt, which is usually, in this case, a 4mm hex or Allen key. Just loosen that, and then genuinely make this loose enough that you can move the seat post up and down. Sometimes these get seized, so it's a really good idea to unseize it by just giving it a bit of a twist, lift up and down, clear all this crap out as well, make sure that doesn't go into the frame. And that's you in business really for that part of the M. So now we come down to the business end where the bottom bracket is. And this is going to take a little bit more attention, but again, not an awful lot. Earlier on there was a scraping because we were cross-chaining. So if you're in the smallest sprocket, the highest number of gears this end, and then the smallest sprocket this end, you're cross-chaining because you're taking the chain from the outside of the bike up here to the inside of the bike, and then indeed vice versa, which means the chain is likely to be scraping against the derailleur, which is what moves the chain from cog to cog, sprocket to sprocket. So you're going to get some scraping at the moment. I don't know if you can hear that. That's perfectly normal, but that scraping noise should go once we change up to kind of gear 6 and then lower, 6, 5, 4, 3. So we're on 9 at the moment. Let's go to 8, still there. 7, it's still there, but it's getting lighter sounding. 6 is just touching, and then 5, that noise has now gone. So that makes sense because it means that in the lower gear, really you should be in gear 1 for gears 1 to 5-ish, and then gear 2, you want to be kind of 5 to 9. So yeah, you shouldn't be cross-chaining because it ruins your chain sooner, and it also bends these teeth over time. Anyway, the main thing to do is make sure the derailleur is moving well and the gear change itself is going well. So let's have a look. Yeah, that's looking all right. If you're losing tension, and if you're thinking that the gears, if the cable needs to be tightened a little bit, you'll notice there isn't a barrel adjuster. You'll hardly ever find any system with a barrel adjuster at this end for a front derailleur, but you will have a barrel adjuster at your left shifter end. Sometimes it happens midway down the frame as well. I'll show you that in a moment. So those are two options that you can have to adjust the cable either way. Just incidentally, for this bike, I'm going to be replacing the cables because they're old, but it just gives you an idea of what needs to be done and what needs to be checked out. Okay, now we're going to move up to the next part of the M. Let's move the camera over as well. Let's move ourselves up. Okay, so this is kind of a more detailed and involved part of the M. So this is the top right corner of the letter M, if you like. There's actually quite a lot to look at because we're looking at the gear shifters, and then we're also looking at the brake levers as well. Now, There isn't an awful lot though that can go wrong, although there's lots to look at. The first thing you need to do is to make sure things are shifting as they should. Well, we know that to be the case, but you want to hear those real positive clicks. If you've got grip shifters, same again, you want to hear that positive click coming on from both shifters. This is going to be different because it's only one movement on the left shifter. In this case, you might have two movements with 3 gears. So that's pretty easy to look at. And then again, you want to look at your brake levers as well. Now, again, because this is hydraulic, you want to make sure that your lever is engaging around about here. It really does need to lock on relatively quickly. So if we spin the wheel here, excuse the noise of the clamp, but that's engaging fairly well. But actually, if you look, that lever can still travel quite a way. It's better than the back, the one that I showed a moment ago, but that still could do a bit of work. So this might just need burping as opposed to bleeding. But you know what? If we're going to bleed the back, I'm probably going to bleed the front as well. So now you're okay with the brake levers. It also is worth saying, incidentally, that you need to check the outer cables and things are okay. With the brake fluid, cables or hoses, you're going to know because there's going to be fluid everywhere. But with the gear cables themselves, you need to make sure that these are in good nick. There's no nicks in them. There's no opportunity for the inner wire to come through. But things are looking good here, albeit very cobwebby. And now we're going to come down to the last part of the M, which is the front wheel. And I suspect we're going to have similar issues that we had before in terms of tyre quality. So let's go a little bit closer and let's see what we're looking at. So again, let's have a look. Let's zoom ourselves in. Okay, let's have a look. Well, I think you can see at a glance, despite the cobwebs, you can also see how much crackage there is. Yeah, look at that. That's not good quality at all. So as soon as this is inflated, I think even the inner tube is going to start showing through those cracks. So whether he likes it or not, the customer's going to need new tyres. These are the only points of contact you have with the road. And even if there's 30 mil or so in contact with the road, you don't want to be messing around with what is just a couple of inches in total of rubber keeping you up and not crashed. You need these tyres to be pucker quality. So we're going to be replacing those. If we make ourselves just head down to the axle part, nothing really is different from the first part of the M. So the first part of the M and the last are exactly the same in terms of checking over the brake quality. The pads look to be about the same. You can't really see it so easily on camera, but the pad looks to be about the same quality as the rear. So there shouldn't be an issue. But once we've bled these brakes, we'll be able to tell whether or not the pads need changing as well. Just one other thing to look at as well, which I should have shown maybe as we went through the M check. You want to make sure that there's no play at all with rear wheel, front wheel and crank arms. And it's easy to do. You grab hold of the wheel itself, the rim, you hold the frame, and you're going to push or rock backwards and forwards away from you and towards you. If there's any play at all, that means the hub area almost is certainly loose, but more likely the bearings are worn and you need to get a hub service. So that's the same for the front as well. And then with the crank arms themselves, obviously in addition to them moving smoothly, you want to do the same as you've just done with the wheel. You want to grab the crank arm, brace yourself with the frame and just push away and towards you. And if there's any play at all, any rocking, any knocking, it means that your bottom bracket area is loose. It's very unlikely, but the bottom bracket may have worked loose and it just needs tightening up. You can look at my video to see how to do that. More likely though, it's because the bottom bracket area is worn, which is good because it means the bike has been used well rather than just sitting in a garage. In this case, everything is tight and amazing, but that's because the bike has hardly been used. So guys, that is it. That is how to do your basic M check of a bike. It might sound like a lot of work, but hopefully your bike isn't in this sort of condition. And if it is, please don't ignore it. Don't bury your head in the sand. Just get the bike fixed. All of these things aren't expensive. They all take a bit of time, but all of these repairs can be done. Look at the videos on my channel and I show you how to do all of these jobs. And then you won't be going to the mechanic. You won't be spending loads of money and you'll be good to go. And we've done all of this, hopefully in enough time that you haven't fallen asleep. We are job done. Thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves. Get your bike working and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.